Hello. In this lesson, we go on answering a number of questions by using and practicing the reading strategy, scanning for specific details. Before we start the questions, let me remind you of the steps that you have to consider before you scan. First, you should decide on or specify the key element, a word, phrase, number, name, etc., that you have to find, since the element either represents the answer or serves finding it. Second, if possible, determine the part to be scanned. Do you need to scan all the reading passage or a certain part of it? Next, start scanning until you find the clue or the key element. Finally, consider the key element and what's around to find the answer. Let's start question 1. If children are treated harshly, they usually develop stress. Toxic, tolerable, positive, none of the above. The key words that we need to use to answer question 1 are treated and harshly. They form one verb phrase, treated harshly. We understand that being treated harshly can cause a type of stress. Thus, we scan by focusing on the causes of the given types of stress. If we start scanning, we are supposed to start with positive stress. If you notice, when we reach the causes of positive stress, we have 4 causes: attending a new daycare, getting a shot, meeting new people, or having a toy taken away from them. Is any of these causes a kind of harsh treatment? We may have a doubt about the 4th cause, having a toy taken away from them. We can underline it and continue scanning so that we may find a clearer and more explicit answer. We then continue to see the causes of tolerable stress. We find the death of a loved one, a natural disaster, a frightening accident, and family disruptions such as separation or divorce. There is not any mention of harsh treatment. Then we continue scanning toxic stress. We are given one cause as highlighted, child maltreatment, which includes abuse and neglect. This cause is the answer that we are searching for. We don't have the word harsh, but the word treat is there in the noun maltreatment. Then maltreatment is explained or illustrated with examples that include abuse and neglect. These terms, abuse and neglect, are forms of harsh treatment. Then maltreatment here is the same as harsh treatment. Therefore, the correct choice would be toxic stress, choice A. Then we come to the second question. When suffering from toxic stress, what happens to the stress response system? You have 4 choices. This question is easier since it specifies the type of stress. We just scan the paragraph about toxic stress. The key phrase that we should have in our mind here is the stress response system. As can be noticed, the phrase is located in the middle of the paragraph, as the colored words show. The correct answer follows this key phrase, which is gets activated for a prolonged amount of time. If we look at the choices, the 3rd choice, C, is the correct one. The first choice is wrong because of the word inactivated, which is the opposite of activated. One more question, and this time of the true-false type. Toxic stress may result from tolerable stress. What are the key elements that we should adopt to find the answer? The main key word in this question is the verb phrase result from. It makes a relationship between 2 types of stress. The first type may be a result of the second. In other words, the second may be the cause of the first. Therefore, the 2 mentioned types of stress are also important key elements because they determine the location of scanning. So we need to scan toxic stress since it is the focus of the question. and we may think of finding the answer there in the causes of that type of stress. We start reading quickly and skipping unnecessary words. We have two phrases that may lead us to the answer. Still, when we read and scrutinize the connections they make, we don't find the answer. The second choice is to quicken to the other possible location, which is the paragraph about tolerable stress. Notice in the last sentence of the paragraph, we are told that tolerable stress can become toxic and lead to long-term negative health effects if the child lacks adequate support. The phrases can become and lead to show us clearly the cause-effect relationship between the two types of stress. Hence, the answer now is very clear. It's true that toxic stress may result from tolerable stress. We wasted some time when we started scanning the paragraph about toxic stress. We considered the focal point of the question as a reason to start scanning that paragraph. Still, skilled readers who practice a lot may have a better sense of deciding where to scan. For this, when you practice reading more and more, you will master scanning and become more skilled in it. You will be able to determine the key elements and the parts of the passage to be scanned more easily. With practice, things become easier and less difficult. In the coming week, we will stay with practicing both skimming and scanning, but we will have a new passage and new questions. Also, we will shed more light on the notion of how skimming can serve scanning. See you then.